Okay. Spin. The long and short. Okay. We're going to bow in. Ready? Up. 2 and 3. Salute. The seat. All right. So we can start off a few warm-ups. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. To the side. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. To your left. Center. Inhale. Exhale. Hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. To your left. Center. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. To your left. Center. Inhale. Exhale. Hands on your waist. Circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center, cross, knees, circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Switch. Other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, and stop. Center. Hands on your waist. Neck turning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center. Tilt to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center, down, circular movements. 1, 2, 3. Reverse. 1, 2, and 3. Center. Hands up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Spread your feet. Turn your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, and stop. Okay, stretch it out. Okay, switch. Okay, just take your time. Switch. 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 Straighten the front knee. Switch. 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 Okay, center. Okay, shake it out. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, hands to your waist. Shoulder roll. Reverse. And sigh. Okay, press. Release. Exhale. Inhale. And stop. Hands up, pull in. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, wrists. Reverse. And center. Palms down. Bigger circle. And stop. Okay, shake it out. Let's go side to side. And lift. Ready? Lift up. Okay, insert needle, lift up. Switch. And center. Shake it out. Leg swing. And switch. Other side. And center. Okay, side to side. And center. Okay, shake it out. Hands up, deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, silk rilling. Switch. center, open and close. Switch. Okay, center, circular movements. Okay, lower hoop. Shoulder height. Elbows down. Okay, lower, palms down. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. Part the horse's mane or diagonal flying. So this is diagonal flying. Switch. Okay, cloud hands. Okay, palms down. Lift up, carry tiger to the mountain. Infinity sign. Form the fist. Okay, palms together, strum the lute. center. Thumbs up. Alternate the shoulders. And switch. Okay, turn, draw the bow. Fan to the back. Okay, center. Raise the hand. Okay, deep breathing. Inhale. You'll go through the sequence. Feet parallel, feet shoulder width. Okay, short form. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. So we want to just work a couple of the postures. We got the grass the sparrow's tail, brush knee, and the Jade Lady work shadow. I've been doing these little drills. So I call it dosing. You kind of focus on one posture and then you do it on both sides. So it's just a format, but a lot of times you don't know how to practice. You can do the form, but after you've learned the sequence, you have to actually extract the posture and try to do it enough so that you can maybe figure out what's going on within the form or discover some of the things you're not doing. Like the right and left working together, upper lower coordination. So we start off with our heels together like this. This sets us up for the square stance or the shoulder width stance. And then once we get into the square stance, we have an option. We're going to pivot this way. Now we're going to pivot on the toe of the back right foot. Then we sit back. That's your transition from stork flap swing to brush knee typically. So if you're not familiar with that transition, it typically goes like this, and then you would go into neutral position to brush knee. So, right from the beginning, you actually have a transition. But you may not have paid attention to that, as a detail when you're kind of going through the sequence. But once you get into this position, we can do either brush knee or grass the sparrow's. In this case, we'll do the grass the sparrow's tail movement. And you go forward. You don't have to hook your wrist, but that would be a transition. What we're going to do is go to lower hoop position, transition across to the right side. So we have our strum the lute movement there. Grass the sparrow's tail, right side. And you push and you turn. Build the continuity of movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, then you fold, grass the sparrow's tail. Then go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, and then we could end up back to center. So if you just watch for a second, you have your hands here. This moves. Now the circular movement becomes the right-left turn. So from the neutral position, once we get to the round position, you make one continuous circle, and then you're going to end up going to here. So this is how you build the circular form and also the continuity of movement, because your hands have to move from one position to the next. And once the body has figured out, then it starts to turn, and then it turns. Yeah. Yeah. Your waist is part of it, but when you start to integrate it, it becomes part of your legs too, your legs as well. So your legs, because you really, when you adjust your center of mass, which is your, where your core is in through here or even down here, when I turn, if I turn my body this way, then my knee has to come forward. If I turn it back, then the knee goes back. So you may not see that or pay attention to that because that's your rooted leg. So if you look from the back side, if I turn, you see my spine is here. And then when I turn, my spine is here. But because the hands have to compensate for the balanced position, which is your center of mass, then it goes all the way to the sole of your feet. Now the turning right to left is the upper body, but the lower half has to adjust to build that upper-lower relationship between the hands and legs. So while the torso is moving right to left, your legs are actually going somewhat forward and backward until you start to project. So if you turn, you would initiate it from the lower spine. Okay, so your lower lumbar area. But the lower lumbar area begins to move when you twist your sternum, because your mid-back actually has the joint that allows you to turn this up part. From here to here is there's really two sections, here, here. And then you have two sections right and left side here. Then you have the two sections here. So with all of those have to become part, because none of that is not connected. It's connected through your musculature and the connective tissue. So if the body is very rigid, there's going to be no movement. So the idea is to build movement through, a conscious effort, and that's really building motor skill. Motor skill is learned, and I talk about a lot of this, that the body really doesn't know anything. Right? In fact, the mind doesn't know it either. So when you hear this information, it's just taking it in. On a visual side, this is something a lot of people say, I'm a visual learner. But you can only learn so much visually, because at some point you have to interpret the movement on an intellectual level. But what kind of intellectual level is there? It's very basic when you're a novice. Then as you evolve, then the mind becomes engaged, and then the information you hear, the vertical spine, the twisting right to left, the forward and back, that all becomes part of it. Then you have to tie into your primary movers, which is really your 12 joints that I talk about. We do all of those manipulations in segments through our warm-ups, through the drills like this. You start to build that relationship, but you have to start somewhere. So when you start here, you begin to turn your spine. When you start here, you begin to tilt. When you start here, you begin to lift and bend. So all of this stuff happens in your form. Right? Isn't this what we do? We rise and we fall, we twist and we lift and we turn. So how does your body know to do that? It doesn't. So how do the sides of your body or your front of your body know it can do that anyways? It knows to bend. But it's just bending, with no purpose. When we do it like this, then we have a consciousness of the motion, and we create the pattern, the angle of direction. All of those things have to be dialed in to create accuracy of movement and the relative position of when, where, and why you would turn at a specific point. So when you ask the question, what initiates it? The mind initiates it. Okay, so let's go from there. All right, we're going to go forward, sit back. Now we're going to turn. Here's your brush, knee, and push. Now we go back to center. We go forward, sit back and turn to the left, and then turn to the right. So you have to actually build the right-left twisting. So when we do the obliques and we sit back, that's really setting up all the way to ground. And then we turn here. So what are we doing? We're training our body to realize that it should turn. It turns one way, then it goes the other way. So essentially what you're doing is winding up your waist like your spring. and you learn to turn and unwind, and you wind it up, and you go forward, and here's your turn here. So you have to turn to your right before you turn to your left. You have to turn to your left and then project forward with a slight left turn, and then you go forward and turn and turn and forward. So that's something you just have to be aware of. Now go forward. Now we're going to do Jade Lady Work Shuttle. Sink and twist. Sit back, turn this way, fold, turn to the left, turn to the right, sink your elbow, sink your knee, lift up and twist to the corner. Turn, sink your elbow, forward, back, sink, and turn. Sit back, turn, forward, back, and forward. And then you go back, same thing happens, and you go forward, back, down, and out. Turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, sink, and lift, and back. Okay, shake it out. So that's building right-left integration, forward, backward, and the relationship between the elbows and the knees become much more apparent when you start to define that direction. So that's your rising and turning, right? If we turn and we turn, the hands have to move like this. See? So that's what whatever you do to prepare for the final position really would vary based on your coordination, and also what movements that you've built into your motion during your sort of that journey. Because we know the last position, we know the setup, but what happens in between, that's the transition. That's going to vary tremendously among the individuals here, because we're not picking it up exactly the same way, because our bodies are different and our mind's working differently. So you have to kind of do it, and then the body will pick it up over time. So it's not something that happens overnight. It happens over a course of time, practice. So it is a function of time. So nothing happens without actually some effort. You have to put enough effort in it for your body to begin to recognize. So, if you're a visual learner, you can't pick up on this because visually it doesn't see what's actually happening. And what we see is the external motion on the most extreme side, which is your hands. You're going to see the hands first, and then you see the gross movement, and then you won't see any of the nuances till your understanding reaches a level where it starts to catch up with your physical understanding. So when the physical understanding learns it, then the mental understanding catches up. So it's kind of always a give and take. There's a balance involved there. Okay, so we'll go through the long form. That's what you can practice. Ready? Okay, deep breathing. So, okay, good. So, John, what's up? You missed last week, right? So we missed you twice, right? 2 weeks you missed. So we missed. Not that we're keeping track, but so. Any questions? Yeah. How about how that was a long one. How about Mara? Anything? No. You have a question, Colleen? Okay. Grasp the sparrow's tail. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, so your push becomes, so grasp the sparrow's tail is this. 1, 2, 3. But there's your push. But then when you turn the corner, this can become part of the movement as you turn. So really you're sustaining the position, and then you're using it as a transition, as a continuity of motion. So the push ends, and it's like this. If my hand is here, okay, and I come like this, the push becomes here. You see, so this is my push here, but then when I turn, there's the continuity of movement through the turn, because that's your intent of movement. See, because if like in pushing hands, if we have this, we're like this, and then we get to here, and then he comes through, I might be here, and then I have to turn like this. So then the hand becomes this, you see. So the movement becomes a blend of this, because now the movement becomes part of that. So my hand gets to here, then it comes to here, and then I go like this. Now if I'm here and he pushes here, then my strength comes here, because the direction of my movement. If you push again and I turn, this is here. So that's your grasp the sparrow's tail. See? So when movements are continuous, they become part of that direction of movement. So that's what's going on from posture to posture. See, when you link one posture together, and you've noticed that fan through the back and insert needle, maybe parry and punch, they always kind of follow each other, because that's kind of a pattern. Just like grasp the sparrow's tail goes into single whip. So you kind of see that kind of forming. And then brush knee and strum the lute. They kind of go together. So you can see that movements going forward and backwards. They part the horse's mane. Jade lady works shuttle. Part the horse's mane. They go hand in hand as well. You can go forward with it or backwards with it. So that's kind of building that, posture relationship. So you can see that in this Jade Lady work shuttle, we follow it with part the horse's mane, right? When you end up here reversing the ball and we're in part the horse's mane, we go into Jade Lady work shuttle. See, so you see how those postures start to create a transition, and because it's only relevant if you're using it as a technique or a martial art or some type of application, but you can see that the relationship allows you to lead from one position to the next. Because what you're essentially learning is that when my hand is like this, what happens if something happens within the space that you left open? So in other words, if I'm here, there's an opening. The opening could be here, opening could be here. So how do you transition through these positions to keep those voids contained. So when we do these movements, it's called framework. Your form is made up of a framework, and the framework is sort of the skeleton. Just like when they build a house, they have a skeleton. What's the skeleton? It's the 2x4s or whatever they use for the framework. So in order to fix your posture, you first have to fix your framework. You have to fix your skeleton. So your skeleton has to know where the positions are for vertical, horizontal, slanting, the diagonals, and squareness, right? So everything kind of follows that same idea of structure, right? And without those actually as a precise position, being vertical, the spine, horizontal in a press, horizontal in a level, your body won't develop accuracy of position. So while a lot of people do Tai Chi and they just kind of go through the motions, it's not really good Tai Chi because it's lacking the essence of those movements that have framework and accuracy of movement and how you would use that skeleton efficiently. So when you do Tai Chi, first thing is trying to learn the sequence. Then you got to go back, fix all those little things from your framework on, and you build integration and then movement, which is happening from the beginning. And the whole premise of improving a movement is to improve circulation. Circulation is what keeps us alive, actually, right? Without oxygen getting circulated to our cellular level, and it needs oxygen because we're using musculature movement. We're manipulating them, and without oxygen, your muscles won't work. It needs nutrients as well, but without oxygen, you're done. You need it for the brain and your body. So if you have certain areas not getting good circulation, it's not getting the same, benefit. So you have, could be the soles of your feet, could top of your head. Wherever there's a blockage, it's not going to get the circulation. And the blockages could be just tension. It could be just restricted motion. So that's what it is. So if you sit on your leg for a long time, and it starts to buzz, that's because it didn't get oxygen, and it's telling you to, wake up, move it, and then it starts to free up, and then it goes away because the circulation comes back. So circulation is what we do for health and wellness, and coordination and control of our body is for balance, not just standing balance, but just total balance. So movement is, the balance is systemic in everything we do. It even, externally it's physical movement, internally it's your apparatus, right? So that has to be balanced. Okay, we're going to bow. Oh, we've got 5 minutes. Oh, so any other question? Yeah, Peter. Yeah. 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 Yeah, so when you go into insert needle, where this is your posture, okay, fan to the back is this posture. So between the two, when you insert the needle, you take a step forward to widen the stance. Then you lean forward like this, and then you sit back to adjust this foot 45 degrees, and then you shift forward and open this leg 45 degrees. And then while you're here, you're keeping this body facing that way, and then you start to transition back, and you invert this hand, and then spread the arms as you turn the body. So you have footwork, you have torso rotation, you have extension and expansion, and the two sides. Once you start to move your feet and your body, then the hand movements become a part of that. So this arm moves as a function of this. Now that's the breakdown. When you do the movement and you go through the movement, it just happens spontaneous. Yeah. So you pivot the front foot first, and then the back foot. So it's the same with grasp the sparrow's tail. We pivot the front foot, and then we pivot the back foot. So you pivot the one that you're going to as a direction. So your toe dictates the direction of your movement. So if I'm here, and I'm here, and I'm going that way, I have to turn this foot. Because I'm going to go that way, I have to turn this foot. And then because I'm going around again, you can go like this to make it bigger, or you can just turn to do this. Yeah. So set up your feet each time you're going to move. Just like skiing. You have to set up, no? You have to you have to set up set up the direction. Otherwise you do that. You tip over. So yeah, you set up your feet. And you pivot. See, and we don't lift the feet when we move. Unless it's a step through. So you're always grounded. And because you're pivoting, it becomes a mechanism rather than, like if I didn't pivot my elbow by relaxing my shoulder, then it would be like breaking the movement. So if you want continuity, you have to stay connected. So you have to build that connection. But connection and not breaking it becomes sensitivity. So your feet become more sensitive to ground. Right? Because once you leave the ground, then you have to know where you're going to put the foot. So that's where you sink. Instead of dump. All right, ready? We'll bow.